Welcome back everybody to PSGL's F11. We are about to get our race underway. All the green lights are currently lighting up, and welcome back to everybody. Thank you so much for your patience and rejoining the stream. We will obviously suffer a little bit in terms of watchers, but hopefully you can quickly grab anybody that you know was watching along and get them back into the stream before we go underway. It's going to have to be quick though, because I think we're going without a formation lap. So that's the situation. We're going to head straight into the race, try and minimize any further issues. Just had an issue there with everybody just getting back in. Lots of drivers had to shut down, a few had to restart, and we're very grateful to you all for rejoining us. The build up to this race has been very enjoyable. In the qualifying session, it's just added to the tension, and hopefully the drivers have all managed to get their setups on. They've managed to select the correct tyres that they chose prior to that issue we had, but we're underway very soon. Welcome Dan and Megan. We're underway momentarily, very soon. Look, there's a timer even on screen right now, and we're going without a formation lap, I believe. So that's the latest information I have. So it's a false start, and they actually go on a formation lap. You'll forgive me for getting it wrong, but I will proceed with under the assumption that it will be a straight into the starting lights, and it's a little bit difficult as well to get the screen organised in time as well. So just a little bit of patience for me. My name is Webbo, and you will find me on Twitter at WebboRed5. If you like the commentary tonight, go ahead and give me a follow. But make sure you've subscribed to the channel and tune in every Sunday at this time for 7 p.m. UK. So let's say 3/4 of an hour ago, generally each week at the same time. So we'll be underway very, very shortly for you. Muas says, is this PS4? Well, it's PlayStation, so a mixture of drivers racing with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It's being streamed on a PlayStation 4 though, if that's also part of your question. Hey, thanks to that CMD guy. This is my 124th race in commentary, so hopefully I'm getting reasonably good at it by now. But having to do it solo again, we are trying to get you. We are trying to get you a co-commentator very soon. We've got 5 lights. It's lights out and away we go with Yamo on the outside, Franco on the inside, and Yamo's teammate Ryan just behind him. They've launched themselves down. Franco looks to have a slight overlap on the way into turn 1. Ryan going around the long way, the Verstappen route here. Can he hold on the same way? Franco brake quite early. Ryan on the inside, 1 car off on the outside. Ryan makes up 1 place, and it's 1-2 for Haas so far, with Franco going super wide, and Jibuk leading the way and trying to get an overtake done here, but he'll be side by side with Franco as they tear into turn 4. Jibuk holding onto the outside line, which he knows becomes the inside for the next sequence. And it looks like Franco down 2 places from our start. No major incidents. A couple of drivers going up and down slightly, but it's thankfully everybody through from the start. It looks like there's Franco down 2, Salad down 3, Lancy unfortunately down 6, and Chad and Iconex 9 and 8 respectively. But we'll go back to the tyre view. I'll try and set up my screen properly for you all as Yamo leads the cars through the stadium sector for the first time. Franco very close here behind Jibuk, but leading Yamo and Ryan. Haas 1-2 as they try now and gap the field, but Franco chasing behind Jibuk will get a slipstream here, but it looks like Jibuk's got a little bit of better top speed as they head towards turn 1. Franco's not going to be able to get this done in this sector of the lap, it looks like, because of that difference in top speed. That'll be down to setup purely. Jibuk with a slightly better setup. Yellow flags appearing in different sectors where cars are not, and Iconex all the way down there in the final place, as is Huberto Mancini all the way down in 19th now, and Andreas making up some places. So all good so far. Tom spinning around, I think, further down the order and dropping loads of places down there. Andreas down to 20th with an issue as well. It's all happening further back in the grid, but I'm trying to focus on where the big points are being paid tonight, as Franco 1/4 of a second back as they head into the S's for the second time. And Franco now trying to stay with the Mercedes driver. Ryan is staying with his teammate as well, and they'll do well to just tow each other away from the rest of the field. Their gap so far 1.2 seconds, the Haas cars away from the lead. We've got another double wave yellow flag. I think it's Iconex all the way down there again, and has dropped down further. Certainly one of the blue cars right down into the final sector as the rest of the drivers go through. Our first time penalty goes with Iconex, who goes through the stadium sector, and it looks like a little bit further back here it's Jovi and it's Alex trading places. Will he have Jamie jump down the inside? I think Jamie made a move there on Jovi, so Jamie up to P6, Jovi down to 7th so far. A penalty for Chad as well as he goes through a difficult sector of the track. Turns 1 and 2, I believe. Iconex has gone from the session, sadly, and there he is in the pit lane. He's new to racing with us, and perhaps not quite familiar with the fact that a safety car can bring your race back from the first few laps of difficulty. Whoa! Out goes one of the Haas cars. It's Ryan. Ryan spinning in the S's, and now it's all to do for Ryan, down in 7th, make that 8th as he tries to get back up to speed, keep those tyres alive. I think hopefully he's avoided some damage, but he just tore past Jamie, who had exactly the same problem a couple of corners later. Jamie dropping down as well, and drama here on lap 3 as first Ryan, then Jamie lose it in the S's. Ryan now, he's got such great pace. I hope he can pull himself back up the order, but that really gives a massive advantage to his teammate Jarmo, who's now 2.3 seconds ahead of Jibuk, with Franco close behind, who now gets the DRS. He gets the benefit of a tow down into turn 1, but he's going to wait. He's going to go through this switchback section and then try and use the second DRS zone. Wide entry, Jibuk running super wide out there, and Iconex, that's where his car has decided to hang out for us. Unfortunately, it's just off track, and another penalty there, this time for Vapor Shadow. So Jarmo from Jibuk and Franco, then Yuki to P4, Jovi doing amazingly up to P5 so far, and it's 3 laps into this situation, this race so far on soft tyres for the majority of the field. Matty, the highest placed medium tyred driver, as the battle here for now second place continues on. Another DRS zone here for Franco. Will he launch one? He's not going to do it. Will he try and hang with him through the stadium and have another go in the next zone? Further back I can see some of the gaps just opening up, but the McLaren drivers and Matty very close to one another. Is that Matty having a problem, or is that Iconex or Jamie? Matty or Jamie are struggling down there at the foot of the field at the moment. Franco then, DRS, screams past the Mercedes driver, Jibuk, and Franco up to P2, and that's going to please all his countrymen who join us weekly for just simply to watch Franco driving. Franco gets a second bite of DRS, and that's an interesting feature of this race. If you get it done in the first DRS, you can continue with that advantage in the second one. Franco now up to P2. Jarmo's gap 2 seconds out there. Has Franco got enough pace to pull away from Jibuk as they go through the S's this time? Let's wait and see the different lines of the cars going through the S's. Both cars looking pretty comfortable on these tyres at the moment, running across the apex. Franco pulling out now a 4/10 of a second gap. I'm claiming a flag glitch in the chat. We've got a couple of issues with some drivers struggling around. I'm not sure we're going to change and retire from the session, but I'll keep an eye on things, as there is an issue here with people calling for that there's a glitch happening. So there's definitely cars out of sequence on the track map. Jibuk then to retaliate against Franco. The next opportunity down the start-finish straight, and it's a DRS. Easy pass as the two cars bring each other closer to Jarmo here. And both of these cars got their eyes on the first place tonight, not only the second place that they're currently battling for. They know that if they spend too long battling each other, the Jarmo will get away, but they've closed the gap now as they draft each other closer to Jarmo, who's having to break the air barrier in front of him all by himself. Ryan currently down into P6 and we'll keep track of him, and I'll try and make sure we see any overtakes coming. At the moment we've got double wave yellows all the way through the first sector, and it's reading on sectors 1, 2 and 3, so an issue going on with the game. For the majority of the drivers it looks like they're driving in sync with one another, so hopefully we can finish this race out. Unfortunately there will be some casualties from this one, but until it affects more than 1 or 2 drivers, I think we'll probably stick with it after an early glitch. And now Franco gets to have another go at Jibuk ahead. Of course, equalised car performance in PSGL, so they've got the opportunity to draft one another with confidence. There's no engine difference. They can change fuel mode from light to regular, but that's it. And it's all about deployment of DRS and ERS. That's really the only tools they've got, apart from, of course, driving perfectly and better than the car they're battling with. So Franco now back up to P2. Let's check out what's happening a little bit further down as Jovi is being squeezed off the track slightly there by Yuki as they start battling now. These two Italian cars battling one another. Lots of penalties forming now for the drivers. Lots and lots of penalties already. Just is the nature of this track, and especially that S's section really catches the drivers out as they push, as they struggle in the aero wake of the car in front, and it just adds up. Becomes very difficult. So a little look in the mirrors. Jovi moving around, and this is just bringing Ryan and Alex closer behind them. Up at the front, let's see, is Jibuk close enough? But Franco's now got DRS on the car in front of Jarmo. Franco closing in on the lead here. Can he get it done? He's getting closer and closer. Will he bother to try into turn 1? I think he will. Great run down the start finish straight for Franco, who takes the lead on lap 8 of 36. Franco up to P1, and after a difficult start keeps fighting, keeps pushing and gets into the lead, but catches a penalty in so doing. And Jarmo does not have a penalty at this stage. Jibuk does, Ryan does not. Ryan gets past Yuki, drafting down the start finish straight. Ryan back up to P4, and we'll see how quickly he's able to catch Jibuk back up ahead. Looks like a ghosted car causing mischief for the rest of the drivers. Is that Salad's car that the drivers are trying to navigate, or is it Alex who has ghosted? Let's have a look. No, Alex is solid, so I think, yeah, it's the other Red Bull. Up at the front, it's going to be a 3-way battle for the lead, and this one's about to get very tasty indeed, everybody. Of course, Jibuk will struggle to retaliate as long as Jarmo still has DRS, but Franco's got great pace at this stage of the race. 7-lap-old soft. He's obviously treated them pretty nicely, but soon those tyres are going to drop off for our drivers at the front, and the race is going to start coming to the medium runners. I was aware that Matty was the highest placed medium runner at one stage. Ryan spinning down. Oh no, he's pitting. Lap 8, Ryan in the pits. So thankfully, I was worried he'd got another problem there, but he goes onto medium tyres, and I'm pretty sure that means we're looking at a 2-stopper potentially for Ryan. Medium tyres at this stage of the race. Was hoping presumably for a caution period with which to make a quick and cheap stop. Here's your battle for the lead. Franco from Jarmo and Jibuk. Jarmo closing back towards Franco a little bit. Jamie left because of the yellow flags and tried to rejoin. He says he cannot watch the race. So unfortunately that's another casualty of the race so far, is Jamie down there. But we'll focus on the positive and what's going on in our lead battle so far, unaffected by any issues. It will be very distracting for the drivers. You've got to feel for them with these constant strings of yellow flags, but the top 3 stay out, and this will be interesting to see where Ryan comes out and whether he'll get a good undercut on these 3 drivers. Now Ryan currently has a 3-second gap of clear air, but pretty quickly he's going to be catching other drivers in front of him, and that will I think he's got Huberto Mancini in front of him on older mediums, so he'll be hoping that they are easy to pass at this stage. So Jarmo, DRS open as they head down to turn 4, but no joy past just yet. Welcome if you're just joining us to PSGL's F11 Championship. Having a hard-fought battle at the front of our field here in Mexico. It's lap 10. Franco leads from Jarmo, followed by Jibuk, Jovi, Yuki. Then we've got Alex, Vapor Shadow, Lancy, Dave and Huberto Mancini. Ryan has pitted, taken the earliest pit stop, and is on a recovery run after battling for first place earlier on and a little spin in the middle of the S's. There's Bollard Cam for you, and a little picture of the F1 Paddock Club as well. But the battle for the lead continues, and I hope this continues the whole way through. Jibuk has pitted. Now Jibuk will be a threat to the 2 cars ahead of him for an undercut, potentially. It's a long pit lane, so the undercut's not especially powerful, about average here in Mexico. Jarmo, getting just that little bit too close to Franco under the braking for turn 1. Franco going very wide on the way out of turn 3, and Jarmo losing out in a big way due to the issue there, just catching the aero wake. His tyres have gone. You can feel the lockups happening already, and under rotation on the front left visually, let alone what else was happening further back on the car. But yeah, definitely struggling now, and this will be an interesting trip through the S's for our drivers. Can they hang on? Jarmo gets another penalty there, just taking too much apex, expecting more washout than he got on his turn in. Unfortunately, that's another penalty, so very interesting to see. Jibuk now, the gap down to 19.7 seconds after 1 lap. Will Franco and Jarmo decide to pit now? Franco goes wide on the way around. We've got Jarmo ignoring the sign of his tyres, and Jibuk racing around 19.7, still the gap to the 2 cars ahead. Most of the drivers now have pitted, apart from Franco, Jarmo, Dave, Huberto Mancini, F1 Football, and Matty. Everybody else has already made a pit stop. So our 3-way battle for the lead has dropped down to 2 drivers. 19.2 seconds now the gap to Jibuk. So gaining about half a second that last lap, not using the tyres too much, but he's got a nice bit of clear track to put in the lap times now, while Franco and Jarmo trip over each other. A potential problem we're hearing from Ahmed's car is the one that might be causing the timing glitch, so the drivers will be asking him to leave. But that happened, I think, last time, and he wasn't reading the Discord messages as they came through. 5-second penalty for Alex for ignoring yellow flags. Now that's going to be quite controversial, because quite how the drivers managed to avoid a yellow flag here with the constant stream of yellows that we're getting is beyond me at the moment. 17.7 seconds now that gap to 3rd place for Jibuk, and he's made up an extra 2 seconds. I think there's a strong chance that he will undercut these drivers, but Jarmo down to the inside. He's actually only alongside the AlphaTauri driving Franco, and Jarmo does not get by this time, but he'll get another bout of DRS on this shorter stretch down to turn 4. Should be much easier now to get by, and there he is ahead before the braking zone. Takes the inside line. Franco has to let him by and live to fight another day. There's still 23 laps left of our race, so we are there's lots and lots of time to play with yet. Let's have a look at our penalty situation as the drivers tackle this next set of the switchback S's, where many of the penalties are picked up. Yuki's got 14 seconds, but the top 3 currently with 3 seconds each, and they thankfully cancel each other out. Ryan still driving with 0 penalties and is now catching Dave ahead of him, who also has no penalties. So Ryan starting to get on terms with the drivers here. 14.8 seconds now the gap for Jarmo. Franco pits now to try and defend from that undercut, but I think Jibuk is going to have this one easily when they come in, although of course they'll have an advantage on tyre life towards the end of their stint. Now medium tyres go on for Franco, and we're on the edge of a medium tyre run to the end of the race. Perhaps that's what Jarmo is trying to rely on here, getting the car sufficiently far into the race, another lap or two, and it's a comfortable trip, a 20-lap stint on the mediums, which is quite achievable, especially with the likelihood of a safety car happening tonight. But Jarmo now alone on his lead, but a 14.4 seconds the gap now to Djibouc, and Djibouc should well have this one, have track position there as soon as possible. So I've got a couple of compliments come in again. Thank you so much, Don Ho. Lighty44, is that my friend Lightning who's changed his name? I wonder. We'll see. But Jarmo leads from Djibouc, now under 14 seconds after the different pit stop. Djibouc went on to soft tyres, so committing to a two-stop, but having very strong pace during this undercut period. Jarmo pits now. Now we'll see if Jarmo loses out to both Djibouc and Franco. Franco lost 6 seconds to Djibouc with the difference in tyres, but I think Franco will be trying to stretch this set of tyres to the end of the race, and we'll see where Jarmo manages to come out. He's gone for medium tyres, so again trying to get 21 laps out of the tyres now. So that's quite possible. Where's Jarmo going to come out? In fact, he loses out, so the top three order is reversed. Djibouc inherits the lead by 6 seconds now on those soft tyres, but will definitely pit again. As for the other two, it's going to depend on the pace of the race and the length and the frequency of any safety cars. However, a safety car will allow a cheap stop potentially for Djibouc at any stage from now or the next lap. Unfortunately, a little bit of negativity around the game coming in to our Discord. In fact, it's affected our host, who gives up a lot of time to coordinate the league and to host the race. Jamie, unfortunately, out of the race. Salad's down there as well. This one's going to have an impact on at least the Constructors' Championship, with those two drivers struggling. I don't want to focus entirely on the lead here, but it's really where the big points are paid. 5.3 seconds back from this group is Ryan, who's getting on terms with his teammate now, but again likely on a two-stopper. I do wonder now whether Franco and Jarmo can make a two-stop, make a one-stop work here. Still holding out, yet to pit, is Huberto Mancini, I believe, and possibly Matti. They started on mediums. Can't confirm that. So lap 16 of 36 sees Djibouc in first with Franco 6.4 seconds back than Jarmo, who we ride with. Ryan is back there in fourth place after a dramatic first few laps. Jovi in fifth, last race's winner, down in fifth place tonight. And then Yuki, although Jovi has made up some places from his start position. Jovi up 4. Ooh, a bit of a wiggle there for Yuki through the turn 4, 5, 6 sector. Vapor Shadow and Huberto Mancini have made up 11 each, so really doing very well. Then it's Chad down there in 9th, debuting tonight, along with Alex and Lancy, all new drivers to us. We've got Dave hounding the back of Lancy here. That might be worth a little look at as they go on into the S's now. Tom picks up a 3-second penalty, so does Ryan, so we complete the run from 1st to 10th. Everybody's got a penalty, and so nobody's really got a penalty there. There's a wheel off in the S's. I've just seen, looking back from this battle. Unfortunately, looks like Jarmo's just getting past Franco there. Apologies for missing that one. Jarmo up to P2 now, and it looks like Ryan is struggling on the tyres relative to the second and third place drivers. Huberto Mancini out of the race, it looks like, unfortunately. Where is he on track? He's gone into the pits to retire. Is that right? Can't quite see the car. There's definitely a Mercedes in the pits. There's a Mercedes that has retired. as we get a pit stop from Jamie's Ghost here. It's all a bit unfortunate, this situation. Further back up to the top of the grid though, Franco, 3rd place, 7/10 back from the lead. Now the lead for Jibbuk has dropped down to 5.7 seconds. And a reminder on the tyre situation, Jarmo on relatively fresh mediums. Jibbuk, his soft tyres will be starting to go, but he'll be able to run a soft medium, which might be a nice quick way to do this race. Ryan is back up to P4, yes, confirmed that from Thisy Boy. Thanks to User Master as well. Trying my best here. We'll try and get you a co-commentator to share the job as well, but you'll let us know what you think. Franco closing now very, very closely with Ryan. Is Yuki going to have a go at Jovi a little bit further back on the track? It's getting sucked up behind the Alfa Romeo, but not quite close enough this time. Roberto Mancini will leave the session. Unfortunately, difficult race for our F11 regulars tonight. But Jibbuk leads, blissfully unaware of all the drama further back in the group. I'm sure he'll get the lowdown from fellow coordinator Jamie after the race. Alex has retired in the pits, thankfully. That should prevent a caution period. Ryan driving pretty well here, just struggling on the mediums a little bit relative to the top 3 here. But Jibbuk will presumably now start to slow, and yeah, he's now got 7. His 5-second lead is now dropping, and it might be time to consider a pit stop for Jibbuk if he's going to run medium tyres to the end, which of course he has to run mediums or hards. Oh, Jarmo with a big step of oversteer on the way in, backs it out, just about hangs on, but that's opened the door to Franco, who will get a second batch of DRS. Surely this will be a nice easy pass for Franco, but he's going to make him go the long way round, and he does it nicely. Good overtake from Franco, just close enough to force an error from Jarmo and be there to pick up the pieces at the next opportunity. So Franco now up to P2 again, and it's the Haas drivers 3rd and 4th, not for the first time in this race. Lap 19 sees, I think, 12... I can't quite count how many drivers we've got left in the race. Looks like we've got 16 drivers currently in the race. I'm not quite sure how many of those are humans, but still the majority, so we're still doing okay. And the field spread is quite monumentous out here. Jibbuk goes back past the pits yet again. So 16 laps left for him to make a choice on his next set of tyres. He's not going to get those softs to the end, but you've got to fancy Franco and Jarmo will. Jarmo comes by on the outside with the use of DRS. Unfortunately, we had a poor camera angle given us by the game there, so we didn't quite see it. But Jarmo back up to P2, and these guys just now using DRS to drag each other closer and closer to Jibbuk, who of course is having to do most of this race without DRS at this stage. So you can see on the track map, Jibbuk just entering the S's as Franco and Jarmo come out of turn 6. There's a ghosted car in front of Franco here, and that's Jamie's AI ghost. So it's a genuine ghost. It's not Jamie being lazy and getting in the way of the drivers. There is, you know, blue flags do mean that drivers still have to peel off and let the drivers through because of the effect of dirty air, even though ghosting is on. Let's have a look down a little bit further as Dave is closing right on the back of the McLaren driver Lancey. Lancey making a very impressive debut here with us in PSF11. So props to him. Just holding off Dave at this stage. Which is exactly what we like to see. A little look at the penalty situation. 17 seconds for Yuki on a penalty collection kind of Pokemon style approach to the race today. Got to catch them all. 17 seconds of penalties so far. I think some of those might get paid off at his next pit stop, but yeah, Not paying too much attention to the steward's warnings tonight from Yuki there, and that's going to drop him back. In fact, he might even hold on to his place to look at the gap back to Lancy, so it might even be paying off for him as long as he holds off and doesn't do any more. That'll be useful. So half a second the gap at the battle for second again. So let's just check out whether Dave and Lancy will exchange places on the way into turn 4. Looks like Lancy's got a good launch out of turn 3, so able to resist quite comfortably there. This is one of 2 DRS zone battles we've got going on the grid at the moment, and on lap 21 with 15 to go, Jibuk leads from Jarmo. Jibuk still needing to pit though, then Franco half a second back, and then 9.67 seconds now back from them is Ryan, who started with them on the grid but had a little spin. So hopefully Ryan will go through, put on some soft tyres at the end and be quick again, but he'll be hoping that other drivers around him do the same and give him the opportunity. Really, Jarmo and Franco on a bit of a conservation run here to try and get these mediums to the end without falling off the cliff. That's definitely a note of concern for our podium at the moment. You know, how long can they hold on? Franco just losing out a little bit there. Jarmo getting by the back marker and extending his gap. I think if he can break the DRS zone, he's got a chance of staying there, and the gap just alternating there between a second and 0.8, 0.9. As they get to the detection zone, it's just within, so it looks like Franco can hold on to that DRS at this point. Likewise, Dave holding on to DRS against Lancy, maybe just sneaking out slightly. There goes Jarmo, still in second place. The gap stabilising now to Jibuk, 5 seconds. So potentially Jarmo and Franco's tyres past their best, but Jibuk's way past their best and he's still hanging on. He can pit at any time now for medium tyres, but he'll be hoping for a safety car triggered to allow him to minimise his losses, but I think everybody will probably come in at this point. Just 13 to go now in our race. We've survived so far without a safety car, which is nice, but don't want to speak too soon. Jibuk leads from Jarmo and Franco here. Then Ryan, 9.7 seconds the gap down to P4, followed by Giovi and Yuki on a huge amount of penalties. Then Lancy and Elite Dave driving without penalty. Jibuk finally pits, so no safety car advantage for him, but he does get first pit stop area in the pits, which does give a small speed difference. I think the game probably equalises it, but he will come out, I think, behind Ryan. A fresh set of mediums, that's his only real option, was mediums here, having used 2 sets of softs, but he should be quick now, and his current challenge is a 15.9 second gap to the front of the field, as right up there, talking of the front of the field, Franco has caught right up again, just having to follow Jarmo through this twisty section. But getting very, very close indeed, and again, nice close battle at the front here. Ryan 10 seconds behind Franco now, nearly 11. Jibuk will be hoping to start catching the drivers quickly. Gap to the leader for him, 15.6, and he's got several cars in between him. Let's see what he can do from this point on in the race. 12 lap sprint, some quali laps needed. That tyre is still sitting there on the track on the way out of the S's, and that's going to be a slight distraction for the drivers, though they'll get used to it and quickly forget about it. Here comes Jibuk. I wonder if he might be able to get a double pass into turn 1 here with the difference in traction he will have on the way out of the Beroltada corner. DRS engaged, making light work of Yuki, despite Yuki also having DRS. But Jovi has got away quite considerably here, so Jibuk might just have to consolidate. Does he dive bomb down the inside? What a move from Jibuk. He's in a hurry to move up the order, and that was a cracking sequence. Double overtake down the start-finish straight for Jibuk, and just outbreaks Jovi on far better tyres. Got a lot of confidence in the car, and he's now 14 seconds back from Ryan. No real difference in penalties. Jibuk's got 11, so he's really not going to be battling for the podium tonight with that many penalties, unfortunately for him. So let's go back to intervals. Yeah, we'll try and keep track of everybody now. I think majority of cars will be pitted to the end now. Just check out the tyre situation. I say Ryan and Franco going to try and avoid dropping off the cliff. I think Ryan's going to struggle hugely, and we'll probably put softs on at the end here. Pit stop indeed for Ryan right now. So Ryan pits on lap 26, 10 to go. That's a nice position to put softs on for the end potentially. Will it be? Yes. There we go. Soft tyres for Ryan. Demoted currently down to P5. I think Jovi will easily get by him though. Oh no, he's in the pits, so will Lancy also pits. Will Dave get by Ryan? I don't think he will. So Ryan back out in P5, but 9 seconds he's got to make up in 10 laps to get back up to P4. Though Yuki's penalty will not concern him. So it should be a podium for Ryan despite all of his issues tonight, given the gap here to Jibuk. So he needs to try and catch Jibuk considerably. Jarmo in second place. Franco's got by again, so it's Franco leading from Jarmo half a second, and I think we'll probably spend a fair amount of the rest of the race watching these two masters at work as they continue their battle. They do like racing each other, these two. A lot of respect given and received from each of them. Here comes Jarmo then. DRS was open, but he's closed it as they approach turn 1. Quite interesting, that one. I wonder if he deliberately closed it so as to have the next zone here and wait to make the pass into turn 4. But that DRS definitely looked closed before they hit the brakes. But it could just be the camera angle confusing me slightly. Really pleased to have everybody with us tonight. Please make sure that you've liked the video. I won't need to ask if the likes get equal to the live stream viewers, but make sure you've liked the video. Make sure you've subscribed to PSGL's YouTube channel. Lots and lots of racing through the week. Nearly, I think Monday, Thursday, Sunday are your nights for racing generally. There's also an esports battle going on through the week as well as our divisional races. And you can follow me on Twitter at WebORed5, and Premier Sim GL is your Twitter handle for PSGL. So with that out the way, please, a little reminder, please make sure you like the video. It really helps with our metrics, and it's a really easy, cheap way for you to support the racing action we provide for you. Jarmo to the outside into turn 1, forced that way from Franco again. Lap starting to run out now for a convincing win. Again, trying to run these tyres to the end. Ryan's pace is pretty electric at the moment, 3.2 seconds. Moved it to the inside from Jarmo, a little bit tentative, and he had to be because Franco was using that inside. But a switch back into turn 6. This is an unusual one. This will do nicely, but I think Franco will get a good drive out of turn 6, and they go into the S's. Franco on the inside, so will be slower into the second apex. This will give an advantage back to Jarmo. This is very nice racing here between the two of them. A DRS blast down the third straight, but it's just too short for him to be able to get by before they hit the stadium again, although he's right behind him. Almost looks like they're joined with a tow rope front to back, and now he should have a great opportunity on the way out, though those tyres are struggling on the way out of the final corner. You can see really difficult for Jarmo to get away here. The pace of Jibuk and Ryan is what we want to be watching for the road positioning at least. And another lap, another 3-second penalty for Yuki, who collects them and will get the record tonight for most penalties. Let's have another look at penalties. Once this sequence has been engaged, Jarmo finally gets the inside line to turn 4, and nicely by now. Kind of speed difference can he exploit? What has he saved for the end of this race? Let's have a quick look at telemetry. Not a big fan of having it on the screen all the time, but Jarmo out there about equal, actually 60 odd percent there. So Yuki and Ryan are battling. A little nudge from Ryan on the back of Yuki. Let's just remind ourselves of the penalty situation. Yuki now 23 seconds he's caught. It won't be long before he gets a disqualification for that. 26 to 30 seconds. Oh, Yuki just driving Ryan off, but Ryan not being particularly patient with the time to pass and sweeps across the front. That could have been a little bit hairy. I sense Ryan getting very frustrated there and just making his frustration known, although that can cause issues later on. Franco gets by Jarmo yet again. We have another traded place at the front. 3 seconds is the penalty for Franco, 6 for Jarmo, 11 for Jibuk, and just 3 for Ryan. So Ryan now, his task is to try and get himself within 11 seconds, within 8 seconds of the car in front of Jibuk's car, which might be achievable given the tyre difference. He needs to get the bulk of that job done now, though. And getting by Yuki will certainly help with that. Let's go back to the battle at the front then. We'll keep an eye on those gaps, but the battle at the front is where it's all at tonight. Franco has 3 seconds more penalties than Jarmo. Jarmo just content not to make a risky move into the stadium, thankfully. On the way out we go. Looks like, did we just pick up another retirement potentially? I think so. We've got Vapor Shadow, Alex, Huberto and Connex all confirmed out. I'm pretty sure Tom's not really competing here, and Salad has been ghosted a while and is down there at the foot of the field. So I think, let's just see Jarmo and Franco through this sector, but we'll have a look at how many humans are actually driving at the back of the grid. No, and no more moves this time. Lap 31, 5 racing laps to go for these guys to decide it. Jarmo will know he doesn't need to pass Franco on the grid, on the track, if he can hold off on the penalty side. So Tom is ghosted, Salad ghosted, Ahmed I think is also ghosted. I can't even join him on screen, and so is Andreas. We know Jamie was a loss earlier, but F1 Football, I believe, is racing, as is Matty. So I think we've got 11 humans racing in this one at the moment. There we go, looking good so far. Jovi should pick up a place on Yuki ahead. Ryan's down to 12 seconds, the gap to the car in front. It needs to be 8, remember, on the current penalty countback. Jovi catches another penalty though, and Jarmo is going to peel and use DRS to get by yet again Franco. I know Jarmo will want to win this on the track and eliminate any doubt, just in case any penalties are appealed, but the 3-second penalties can't actually be removed from the stewards because it's pretty slam dunk if you've gone over the track limits, especially without safety car interventions. So Jarmo currently P1 with 4 flying laps to go. Remember, 16 and 17 laps, the tyres for Jarmo and Franco, going for 19 and 20 lap runs respectively. Jibuk on a shorter stint, as is Ryan, who should be mighty quick as these cars start to drop off. But just worth remembering, that might explain any difference in performance between the top two, the third and the fourth place driver. As we close out this race, 23 seconds currently Yuki's penalty collection, almost as much as Jovi and Chad combined. But 11 seconds for Jibuk may contain a 5-second in there that he feels is unjust. Is it an esports? It's not strictly speaking esports. This is league racing, my friend Bongos. This is league racing where drivers commit to a season of usually 10 to 15 races, consecutive weeks, and this is a 15 race championship, so to speak. 15 or 16, I forget, sorry. So this is league racing, and the hope is that the drivers will move up the F divisions from F11 to F10 to F9 depending on their performance, and when they get up towards F3, 2 and 1, then they start to get noticed by the esports guys. And we know that the F1 drivers in PSGL predominantly are the ones that make up the esports teams, so the drivers will be hoping to go for that. You'll also see some of the drivers will have prefixes on their names, such as Yuki, Dave, Matty and Andreas. You'll see their team name on there, and they do race for esports teams that are perhaps slightly less known and not backed by real life F1 or F2 teams. So again, there is a mixture of esport quality drivers throughout the fields in PSGL, but it's predominantly your F1 championships that make up the esports teams, especially obviously in the PC division. Now, side-by-side action going on between Franco and Jarmo. Jarmo cutting across the inside of the track. Might feel like he was forced that way, but he caught another penalty, and that is going to be a big deal for these two as they finish off this race. Ryan's gap now 11.4 seconds, but Jibuk caught another penalty, and it's now 14 seconds, so he only needs an 11-second gap or less to get onto the podium tonight, and that's his plan, I'm sure. Soft tyres on Ryan, younger mediums on Jibuk, and then Jarmo and Franco just trying to get these tyres to the end. Their temperatures will be soaring now, especially through the S's. Is it time now for Franco just to sit back, not fight Jarmo too much, but stay within 6 seconds of him and make sure he's got tyres to the end? Let's watch those gaps tumble as Ryan is closing in on what he needs for a podium at the last 2 laps of this race. Hope you've been enjoying it with us. I know I have tonight. Plenty of racing action today. Always good to have a double race day. If you do like the commentary, you can always follow me at WebORed5 on Twitter, and I publish every time I go live, and you'll get a link for where you can join me. So Franco following now 4 tenths behind Jarmo. These guys very much had the race to themselves today. Franco doesn't need to make a drastic lunge here. Can Ryan hold on to that 3 seconds of penalties and that gap or less that he's got right now to get himself up on the podium after a spin in the S's? I think, was it lap 1 or 2? So a good strong recovery race from him. Just have a quick look at who's done what when it comes to places gained, and who will be the driver of the day according to Anthony Davidson. Probably Andreas at the moment, although he's not actually driving the car. So nominations for driver of the day would be really useful from everybody in the chat. Don't just vote for your favourite one. Give me a vote for your genuine driver of the day. Who you think has had the strongest race? I think Jovi's done well by position count back at least. Matty's done slightly better, but has gained from losses of other cars. As Franco goes by on the final lap of the race, Jarmo keen to hold on to the race lead on track at least, and they go through. Franco almost alongside as he presses the DRS button and overtakes. That was the last major overtaking position on the track. Now Ryan is holding on at the moment to the gap. So Ryan, I think, is going to make the podium tonight. We've got Franco on 3 seconds of penalties, will win it regardless if he can just get the car around to the finish. Now, as they go through the S's for the last time, the tyres will be really at the end of their life. Yarmo's trying to hold on. He might try a dive bomb into the stadium, and Franco will know that he doesn't need to lose the race at that point. It doesn't need to sweep across him, but he's just not close enough. Looks like it's going to be a win on the road as the flags are waved. The confetti is spread in the stadium section. Franco crosses the line to win the Mexican Grand Prix in PSF 11. Yarmo gets the second place on the road, followed shortly by Jibuk, who gets third place. But I think Ryan is just going to hold on. 10.7 seconds he needs. 11 seconds and a podium for Ryan. And that's a very strong performance. P3 on the grid, P3 to finish, and a spin. And there he is on the podium again. So great drive from Ryan. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that one. Jibuk down to 4th. Jovi with strong race up to 5th now. Lancy, the best of the debutants tonight. Newcomer to the league and gets a P6. Followed by Dave, P7. Yuki, I don't know where he's going to finish. He's messing around, I think, so we won't necessarily focus on him as he doesn't really cross the line. Chad will come through and overtake Yuki on penalty countback. I'm pretty certain. There he is, another debutant. So McLaren getting double points finish, which would be very welcome indeed. Matty gets by both of them into P8. Again, another super clean race from Matty. Just time to have a look at the fastest lap, which goes to Ryan as well. So brilliant stuff. Looks like someone was demoted or promoted. Tom has been promoted to 5th. That seems a bit bogus to me, but then a lot of the drivers at the foot of the field are going to complain that the result was bogus anyway. But certainly the top 10 earned that one with some great racing. Tom gets driver of the day. I don't think that's fair. I think I'm going to give my driver of the day. I think is going to go to Jovi, last race's winner. But Franco lifts the trophy for Argentina for AlphaTauri. Congratulations to him, and congratulations to the Haas team for a double podium tonight, with Yarmo in 2nd place and Ryan in 3rd. Franco's pleased. Very happy with that one. Well fought victory between him and Yarmo, and they gave us some great entertaining racing. Franco wins from Yarmo and Ryan. Then Jibuk, I don't think Tom, Jovi, Lancy, Dave, Matty, Chad, and I think F1 Football will get the final point of the race, with Yuki and Ahmed. I think then our DNFs, including Tom, would be Jamie, Andreas, Salad, Vapor Shadow, Alex, Huberto, and Connex, with the fastest lap going to Ryan. So a double Dutch podium, 2nd and 3rd for the Haas team. And Tom's been given fastest lap as well. I do think that was Ryan, and I think Tom's is not true. So I'm sure there'll be some conversations about that one at the end. Ryan thinks that Jibuk will get his 5-second removed. Well, you raced hard to get the podium nonetheless. So we'll celebrate until we're told otherwise. So congratulations to our podium drivers. Yamo says driving with a headache isn't a nice thing. Yeah, I can relate, but congratulations to everybody for a hard-fought victory who managed to stay with us. And thank you so much for everybody who stayed with us in the stream, rejoined us after an issue. But very grateful to you all for your engagement on the chat, and for all the likes on the video, for all the follows on socials and subscriptions that you have given to PSGL and made it the success it is. Thanks very much to Jibuk and Jamie, our coordinators who run the league, and make sure that even if you've had a bad race, that you give a thank you out to them, because they do give up some of their practice time to help you go racing. But it's been a pleasure, guys. Make sure you tune in next week, same time from 7 PM UK on not next week. We have a rest week next week, back to a final run for a 4-race batch for the end of the season. So come back in 2 weeks' time, where we will go racing once again at PSGL's F11. I've been Webbo, and grateful to be here with you all, and I will catch you on the next race day.